Welcome back to Mindset English. Today we are going to uncover a reality so disturbing, so unbelievable, that it will shake you to your core. This is not a story. This is not fiction. What you are about to hear is 100% real. It's not from a movie. It's not from a novel. It's from the real world. A world that exists right now as you're watching this. What if I told you that even the clothes you wear, the music you listen to, or the thoughts you think could get you imprisoned or killed? What if one joke, one tear not shed at the wrong time could destroy not just your life, but your entire families? Let me take you inside the most secretive country on earth, a place so cut off, so tightly controlled that even time feels frozen. This is North Korea. And after today, you'll never look at freedom the same way again. Listen closely. Because this is the truth the world doesn't want you to know. Imagine waking up every day in a world where your life is not your own. You can't choose what to wear. You can't choose what to say. You can't choose what to believe, even inside your own home, you whisper, because one wrong word, even accidentally spoken, could make you vanish forever. You can be punished for crying too little or for crying too much. When the supreme leader dies, the entire nation is expected to weep. But the government watches. If your tears don't seem real, you could be investigated. If you don't cry at all, you could be sent to a prison camp. Try to leave. Your entire family may suffer. In North Korea, guilt is inherited. You're not judged by what you've done, but by what your ancestors did. This is called songbun, a hidden ranking system that decides your entire life the moment you're born. If your grandfather fought for the regime, you may live in Pyongyang, have a decent job, access to better schools. But if your grandfather once criticized the government, if he was a farmer, or a businessman, or even suspected of disloyalty, you will pay the price. Your children will pay the price. Their children, too. No matter how smart you are, no matter how hard you work, your songbun does not change, ever. Now think about this. Being born with a sentence you cannot see, cannot touch, but that follows you every single day of your life. In most places, we take freedom of expression for granted. If we don't like a song, we skip it. If we don't agree with the government, we speak. We protest. We choose. But in North Korea, the simple act of listening to a South Korean song could mean death. A teenager once watched a K-drama on a smuggled USB stick. What was his punishment? He was executed in front of 10,000 people. His parents sent to a labor camp for 15 years. Why? Because North Korea doesn't just punish the individual, it punishes the bloodline. Let's talk about fashion. In most countries, women can wear jeans, dresses, makeup, whatever they like. But in North Korea, fashion is a crime. Tight pants, red lipstick, dyed hair, all forbidden. The government believes these are Western corruptions. There are only 28 approved hairstyles for women, and only 10 for men. A woman in Pyongyang was once caught wearing tight-fitting pants. She was arrested and sent to a re-education camp. Her crime? Dressing too modern. Even your haircut must be state-approved. Any deviation is seen as rebellion. Now, imagine being punished for your hair. Let's move to food. Food is not a right in North Korea. It is a privilege, one controlled by your loyalty. The government gives out monthly food rations, but not everyone receives the same amount. If your songbun is high, you might get rice, a few eggs, maybe some oil. If it's low, you survive on corn and cabbage. Meat? That's a luxury most citizens never see. A defector once said his family received only 3 kilograms of rice per month. Not enough to survive. So they mixed it with grass and tree bark. Desperate families dig up roots, catch rats, eat weeds, and even then they starve. There is a black market, a place where people secretly trade goods. But if you're caught buying food illegally, you can lose everything. Your money, your home, your freedom. One man saved up for weeks, bought rice from the black market. The police caught him. They took his money and sent him to a labor camp. This is survival in North Korea. Let's talk about labor camps. They exist all across the country, in secret, surrounded by fences and forests, invisible from satellites. One of the most infamous is Camp 14. No one comes out of Camp 14. Most people born there die there. A man named Shin Dong-hyuk was born inside the camp. His parents were prisoners. He didn't know what freedom was. He didn't know what love was. From the moment he could walk, he worked, picking stones, carrying logs, enduring beatings. He watched public executions. He was forced to witness his own mother and brother being killed for planning to escape. He didn't cry. He couldn't cry. In Camp 14, emotion is dangerous. He later escaped, one of the only people to ever do so, and what he revealed was horrifying. Prisoners are woken at 5 a.m., forced to work 16 to 18 hours. If they slow down, they're beaten. They eat once a day, a bowl of cornmeal and dirty water. To survive, they eat grass, frogs, rats. Some even fight over a single insect. If you're caught stealing food, even just a few grains, you can be executed. Now imagine this. Millions of people living like this, while the country's leader, Kim Jong-un, eats imported steak, drinks European wine, and watches Hollywood movies on his private island. He has luxury cars, a private train, a mansion with a personal theater. His people starving, dying. In the 1990s, a famine swept the nation. Estimates say over 3 million people died. People ate anything they could find, dirt, bark, even their own pets. Parents watched their children die in their arms, but while this was happening, the regime was spending billions on nuclear weapons, on statues, on monuments. This is not incompetence. This is design. North Korea is a surveillance state. Every home has a radio, but you can't turn it off. It broadcasts government propaganda 24/7. You're told the leader can control the weather, that he doesn't defecate, that he learned to drive at age 3. The cult of personality is so strong, people believe he's divine. Every home must display 2 portraits, one of Kim Il-sung, the founder, and one of his son, Kim Jong-il. These must be cleaned daily. You cannot decorate them. You cannot cover them. You cannot hang any other pictures near them. Government agents randomly inspect homes. If the portraits are dusty, you can be punished. In one case, a man rushed to save his daughter during a house fire. He forgot the portraits. He was arrested for disrespecting the leaders. Now let that sink in. He chose to save his child and was punished. In North Korea, there is no such thing as freedom of movement. You cannot leave your city without government permission. You cannot leave the country at all. The borders are guarded. If you try to escape, you will be shot. A woman once tried to cross into China with her young son. She paid smugglers to help her. The guards caught her. They executed her in public. Her son sent to a labor camp. This is not rare. This is daily life, and if you think you can hide your opinions, you can't. The government uses informants, regular citizens, to report each other. Your neighbor, your colleague, even your child. One man told a joke about the leader. That night he disappeared. One woman said the food rations were small. Her sister reported her. She was taken away. Never seen again. This is how control works, by making fear your only companion. And we are only halfway through, because what comes next is even darker. Public executions, religious persecution, torture, medical experiments, forced abortions, child labor. All happening right now, as the rest of the world looks away, and it continues, because the people inside have no voice, and the world outside isn't listening. But we are. And now, let me show you the horrors that still await. Disobey, you die. You might be wondering, why don't the people fight back? Why don't they rise up and overthrow such tyranny? The answer lies in one of the most powerful weapons North Korea uses: propaganda. From the moment a North Korean child is born, the government begins shaping their mind. The regime tightly controls every piece of information a person can access. There is no real internet. There are no foreign books. All TV programs, all school lessons, all news reports are carefully crafted to promote one message: North Korea is the greatest country on earth, and its leader is a living god. Children are taught to worship Kim Jong-un, not just respect him, not just admire him, worship him. He is portrayed as a divine being with magical abilities. They say he can control the weather with his emotions, that his father, Kim Jong-il, never needed to use the bathroom because his body was so perfect. That when Kim Il-sung, the founder of North Korea, was born, a new star appeared in the sky. These lies are repeated constantly, in classrooms, on television, over the government-controlled radios that are installed in every home and can never be turned off. If someone dares to question these stories or fails to show enough emotion in front of a statue of the leader, they can be arrested, tortured, or even executed. One man was reportedly taken away by authorities simply because he fell asleep during a televised speech by Kim Jong-un. Another man was executed because he didn't cry hard enough during Kim Jong-il's funeral. The message is clear: loyalty isn't optional. Worship is mandatory. But Kim Jong-un doesn't only punish strangers. He doesn't even trust his own family. In 2017, his half-brother Kim Jong-nam was assassinated in a Malaysian airport. He was poisoned, killed on Kim Jong-un's orders. Why? Because he had spoken out against the regime. Years earlier, Kim Jong-un also executed his own uncle, Jang Song-thaek, one of the most powerful men in North Korea. His crime? Not showing enough respect to the leader. And here's the most chilling part. Kim Jong-un forced other family members to witness the execution. Imagine being made to watch your own relative be killed, knowing you could be next. So the people stay silent. Not because they don't feel anger or desperation, but because even a whisper can lead to death. A man who told his friend, Kim Jong-un is not a good leader, was arrested days later. He vanished. A woman who secretly listened to a South Korean radio broadcast was taken away with her entire family the next morning. Some were executed. Others were sent to labor camps, where they would be beaten, starved, and worked to death. This is why there is no rebellion, no uprising. The people have been broken. But even in this darkness, there are sparks of resistance. Let's go deeper. Despite the immense danger, there are North Koreans who dare to escape. The path is not easy. South Korea lies to the south, but a heavily fortified border known as the Demilitarized Zone, DMZ, makes crossing nearly impossible. This border is filled with landmines, electric fences, and soldiers ordered to shoot to kill. To the north lies China. Some try to cross the Tumen or Yalu rivers to reach China, but these rivers are patrolled, and in the winter, the ice is thin and treacherous. If caught in China, escapees are often sent back to North Korea, a guaranteed death sentence or life in a labor camp. Yet people risk it anyway. They risk death because staying means living in fear forever. Those who do manage to escape tell horrific stories. One woman who escaped as a teenager found freedom in South Korea, only to learn later that her best friend had been caught and executed in front of her entire village. Another man who was captured during an escape attempt described being beaten until his bones cracked. Guards ripped out his fingernails with pliers. Women who became pregnant while in China were forced to undergo abortions, especially if the father was not North Korean. The regime doesn't tolerate impure blood. But the most incredible part of this story, there are people who help. Just like the Underground Railroad in the United States helped slaves escape to freedom, there is a secret network helping North Koreans flee. Brave volunteers operate this underground escape route. Some smuggle USB drives loaded with movies, music, and news from the outside world. Others hide refugees and guide them across multiple borders, often risking their own lives. These secret networks must remain invisible. If discovered, everyone involved faces death. Yet they continue. Because some people believe that truth is worth dying for. Believe it or not, resistance is also growing inside North Korea. Slowly, more citizens are discovering the truth. Illegal radios pick up broadcasts from South Korea and beyond. Smuggled phones and foreign media are shared in secret. Some watch American movies, others listen to K-pop. Some even begin to question the regime. Outside activists play a role too. In South Korea, groups attach USB drives, flyers, and even money to balloons. These balloons are launched toward the north, hoping to reach the people and awaken them to the truth. The regime fears these efforts. That's why possession of any foreign material is punishable by death. You might wonder, why doesn't the world do more to stop this? The answer is complex. Many human rights organizations are working hard to raise awareness, but when it comes to governments, politics often gets in the way. Some countries like China quietly support North Korea. They want a buffer zone between themselves and democratic South Korea, which is allied with the United States. Russia also trades with North Korea, finding ways around international sanctions. Even democratic countries tread carefully. Why? Because North Korea has nuclear weapons. Any direct action could trigger war. So instead of acting, most governments watch from a distance, hoping for change, but doing little to cause it. And here lies the darkest truth. For decades, the world has let this continue. Yet there is still hope. Despite all the pain and control, more and more North Koreans are starting to see. Some are fighting back in small ways. By listening, by questioning, by refusing to believe the lies. The regime can control food, clothing, movement, even thoughts. But it cannot completely stop the human desire for freedom. And the regime knows it. That's why it works so hard to spread fear. Because it is terrified of the truth. terrified that one day the people will stop being afraid, that they will rise up, that the lies will no longer be believed, that the illusion of Kim Jong-un's godlike power will crumble. One day the people of North Korea may rise. One day the walls will fall. One day the world will finally see the full truth. The suffering, the deception, and the unimaginable strength of those who fought for freedom in the face of death. So if you're watching or reading this now, you are one of the lucky ones. You live in a place where you can speak your mind, access information, and make your own choices. You can read this story without fear. You can share it without punishment. That is a gift, a privilege, a freedom many can only dream of. So what can you do? Start by sharing this story. Let the world know what's happening in North Korea. The more people who learn the truth, the harder it will be for the regime to keep it hidden. Let this story be a voice for the voiceless, because silence helps the oppressor, but awareness creates change. And if you want to support the mission of spreading the truth and raising awareness, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Mindset English. Together, we can uncover hidden truths, challenge injustice, and build a world where freedom is not just a dream, but a right for all. Stay informed, stay brave, and never forget the people who are still fighting for the freedom you already have. If you want to know the dark, hidden story of the dictator himself, how Kim Jong-un became the most feared man in North Korea, how he killed his own family, what he was like as a child, and how he rose to power, comment below. The next story will expose the man behind the regime.